Hey, folks. So, real quick, I did record footage for not yesterday, but the 2 days before that. But it's on my camera, and I haven't taken the time to figure out how to get the footage off my camera and onto my computer yet. It might be a weekend project. But I wanted to come on today and talk about homeschooling, distance learning, whatever you want to call it. So, we recently in my area got a message from the school district that school is going to be out for the rest of the year until fall. And I'll be honest, I knew it was coming, but it still gave me a mini heart attack to read the actual confirmation of it. And I know from Facebook that it's had that effect on many people that I know, many parents. And I just want to reassure you that you're doing fine. Whatever you choose to do is fine. What your kids need most right now is just love. And anything else is just kind of bonus, you know? So, um, my daughter, my husband and I homeschooled her for fourth grade and fifth grade. So I'm not going to pretend to be a homeschooling expert, but I am going to tell you that it's okay to be lazy when it comes to homeschool. And I'm going to start with some facts. Fact one, your students' teachers are super stressed. They have a job that they know how to do very well. They've done it for 10, 20, 30 years. They've really got it down. And they work for an embarrassingly low wage. They work all the time. And they have to take some of their embarrassing low wage and buy their own supplies for their students. And they do, because they love their students. You wouldn't do this job unless you loved the kids you were working with. And now they basically had a weekend to rethink their entire system of how they're going to do their job they've done for a really long time. They have to learn new software that they don't know. Some of them are not very technologically savvy and are struggling to figure it all out. And meanwhile, the thing they love most about their job, which is their students, has largely been taken away from them. So, yeah, their world has turned upside down and they are trying to cope. So, if your teacher or your student's teacher, like my son's, who I love her, but the amount of email and resources and assignments and suggested schedules and all of that was just too much. And uh, it's I have my own job. You might have your own job, and you might not have studied everything that teachers study to get to be teachers. And so this is really overwhelming, but just keep in mind it's overwhelming for them too. And everything that they're sending you, you don't have to listen to it. Sorry. Sorry, teachers. I know that you're putting a lot of work and heart into everything you're doing, but we got to do what's best for us too. I'm sure you respect that on some level. Another fact that I want you to think about is that your kids are probably stressed. Kids soak up the stress of the adults around them. And they also exhibit it in different ways than adults do. So for my kids, they, I've noticed that they need to be with me all the time. If they're not engaged in something else, they want to be with me. My 12-year-old, who a month ago I sort of was sad that I might never get cuddles from her again, now she's practically in my lap all the time whenever I'm sitting on the couch. Uh, so they're probably stressed and discombobulated. Um, they're hearing about a bunch of scary things. Some of them probably really miss their friends. They miss their teachers. They miss everything about school. So keep that in mind too when you're figuring out what your learning plan is going to be. And the most important fact probably is that it does not matter. It does not matter what your kids do right now. Absolutely not. Um, Here's the thing. In the fall, these kids are going to go back to school. They'll all have had different experiences before the summer. They'll all be at different skill levels with all their academics. Um, and they just aren't, the teachers, I feel really bad for you guys, but the teachers are going to have to somehow corral all that and get people back on the same page. And they're going to have to do that no matter what you do with your kids right now. So it doesn't matter. Seriously, do what you want. So with that in mind, I am going to give you a couple examples of learning plans that you might like to adopt that are lazy homeschool plans. First of all, okay, so a caveat. So some of them are lazier than others, I'll say. But this is really just an idea, this is just to give you some ideas. You can mix and match. You can use what works best for your kids and your family and your situation. Hopefully something here will be helpful or spark something that will be helpful. So here we go. The first plan is the kid-led education plan. Now for all these plans, in order to effectively be a lazy homeschooler, you need to put as much responsibility onto the kids as possible. As my husband said earlier today, if you are doing more work than your children, then you're doing homeschool wrong. So the kid-led plan is basically this. You ask your kids, hey, you don't have to go to school, but you got to learn stuff. So what do you want to learn? What are you interested in? And what this does is, not only gets them really jazzed about doing their work every day, but the more engaged they are, the more likely they are to leave you alone so you can do your own work. So point them in the right direction, get them the tools they need to do that thing, and let them go for it. The examples I'm about to give cost money, but there are plenty of ways to get some of these resources that are very low expensive or free. So my kids have always wanted to learn more about programming and making their own games. And this is just something we've never figured out how to work into their day-to-day schedules. Now, they both have lessons twice a week with a friend of mine who's teaching them game design and programming. My daughter wants to do a project for her class about frogs, mainly because she has always, for the last few years, she has talked about how she wants to dissect a frog. It's great. And I did a search online, and what do you know? There is, in fact, a kit for dissecting frogs. Uh, so I ordered that. So while we're waiting for that to arrive, she's researching frogs, she's watching videos about them, she's putting together her outline for her book that she has to do. So yeah, um, find out what they're into, give them what tools you can, and let them go to town. This might also look like, what is something you've always wanted to make? You know, um, and then have them do all the research themselves and figure out what materials they need, source the materials, and make it. And that could take, that could keep them busy for a couple months, depending on what the thing is. So yeah, find out what they want to do and have them do it. Another way to go about this is what I'm going to call family togetherness. And in this plan, basically what you do is you don't worry about traditional academics. You just worry about, what are the things that we can learn in this unique situation. For example, we can learn things like how to be better together as a family. We can learn more about each other, more about what each person likes and dislikes, and what kind of activities you like, and what kind of activities you don't like. We can take turns picking something for everybody to do together and do that. We can learn about mindfulness and meditation and ways to calm your mind and body, and that's something we can do together. This might be a better plan for parents who don't work full time and can spend all their time with their kids. And I don't want to say all their time. You should not spend all your time with your kids, but a lot of time with your kids. But even if you work, there are some elements of this that you might be able to fit into your routine. Something else that I've done in the past with my kids that was really fun is that I decided what I wanted to learn and did it with them. So years ago, I decided that I wanted to get good at hand sewing. I didn't really know much about it. And I was like, well, how am I going to find time to do this? And the solution was my daughter and I learned how to do it together, and it was really fun. We had a really good time. We really bonded. So a lot of people right now are doing gardening projects or learning how to make sourdough bread is a popular one. Maybe these are things you can do with your kids. Then you're both learning together. Another plan I'm going to call keeping them busy with low guilt. So this is just short of, well, no, I won't say that. This is like, I have to work. I have stuff I need to do. And you guys need to stay out of my hair. But I will feel bad if you're just playing video games all day and watching YouTube. So here are some things for you to do. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should feel bad if your kids are playing video games all day and watching YouTube. That's just something that I personally struggle with. So for these guys, my daughter is in middle school, so her teacher is sending her stuff every day. So the first thing she does is she checks her email. And then she knows what she has to do that day. So she's easy. I don't have to do anything. My son is trickier. He's in elementary school, and I am not doing anything that his teacher wants, pretty much. It's mostly busy work. He's mostly ahead of the curve on a lot of the academics, not all, but a lot. So Instead, we just make a checklist. These are the things you have to do before you get screen time. And they include feeding the dog and cleaning up for 20 minutes, getting exercise. And then I found him an app called Dragon Box, which is fabulous. It teaches algebra to kids as young as 5. He's really enjoying that. And I found him, and he needs help with his writing. So I found Night Zookeeper, which is great. It's keeping his attention. And then he has to read for 30 minutes and do art. That's really about it. So the trick here is that those 2 programs are really fun, and he likes doing them, which means that he spends time doing that and leaves me alone. But he's also learning at the same time. So everybody wins. It's great. And I don't have to intervene. He knows he has to do his checklist before he gets screen time. So the kids are just pretty self-sufficient at that. They just follow their checklist, and then they get to do what they want to do. It works pretty well. The last plan I'm going to suggest is the screw it, there are no rules. This is the apocalypse. Do whatever the hell you want. So a minute ago I said that I personally feel bad if my kids are playing video games or watching YouTube all day. But you don't have to. You can let them do anything they want or anything you want them to do. It really doesn't matter. If you are a parent who has the opportunity right now to be with your kids, I'll tell you what I would do. I have a full-time job I still have to do. But if I didn't have that job, what I would do is I would take the kids for nature walks. I would do lots of art. I would play games with them. And I would also have a time every day where I locked them out of whatever room I'm in and told them to go amuse themselves for a while. And if that meant they were going to watch YouTube for several hours, fine. Here's the thing, is that we've all got to get through this, and this can be an opportunity to have fun with your kids and create a stronger bond with them, or it can be an opportunity to stress everyone freaking out and have the opposite effect. So I encourage you to explore lazy homeschooling. Look up unschooling if you are interested in how kids really just teach themselves stuff, whether without very much intervention. And just, cut yourself a break. Feel okay. We're not failing our children. You're not failing your children. The coronavirus gives us so many new ways we can feel like we're failing at stuff. But this doesn't have to be one of the things. Anything you do is fine, as long as you're loving them, which I know you are. And you're giving them a little bit of extra attention, because they probably need it. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Alright. I will talk to you next time. Stay safe, stay well, and hopefully sleep well. Good night.